Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, doing a live game reaction, post-game reaction, our first one in a while, Riker. We did a couple breaking down the games live as they went. This one unfortunately wasn't on TV, wasn't on cable for me today, but was able to catch it on one of those streams. The Raptors got the W 86-72. I had to pull up the score and get an unnatural transition in here, but Riker, you know, this was an exciting game. No Scottie Barnes, no Precious Achiuwa in this one, but still, Dalano Banton showed out in this game, and we did see a lot from the young guys on the squad.
You're going to have to break it down for me because I was in the middle. I had my intramural basketball game, and let me tell you, we got decimated. We were given a whooping that I've never received in my entire life of playing basketball, which is hundreds, if not thousands of games. I've never lost so badly in my entire life. So you give the reaction to what you saw, and then we'll probably break it down, what we think of the games. We're getting real close to Summer League being over.
No, it's over
and
now.
the season actually starting.
Yeah.
Well, did they not make the playoffs?
So how this works, for people that were wondering, I found it out in this game here, is it's almost a round robin, so to speak, or not necessarily a round robin, but you get your records and then it's point differential. Then the top two teams that played throughout the season, they're going to end up in the championship game for the Summer League. So I believe
that's it, just a one-off.
Yep, the Toronto Raptors, they are done here tonight. So this is the final chance we get to see these guys before the preseason, which is coming just around the corner. But the Toronto Raptors, right, they didn't make it, unfortunately. That one game against the Golden State Warriors, Riker, that was an unfortunate watch, right? That basically knocked them out. I believe it's the Celtics and the Kings that are the two teams that are going to make it to the finals. However, the Toronto Raptors, they showed a lot of positives this year's Summer League. And my big takeaways from this one, it's got to start off with Dalano Banton, who in the game had 9 points, 5 turnovers, which is tough, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. But that box score, similar to a lot of the Raptors' young players, it's not indicative of how well he played. He was driving the lane, making gorgeous passes to people, made a gorgeous look-ahead pass across the court to I forget who it was finishing down the lane, but his court vision remarkably impressed me tonight. And, you know, for a guy that's 6'9", making those types of passes that were sort of no looks, jumping in the air, throwing it around people, Steve Nash-esque, that's going to be a guy that's extremely valuable for this team going forward.
Yeah, not terrible efficiency, like you said. Didn't seem, well, box score, didn't hit any of his threes, didn't connect, but you and I are both incredibly impressed at this guy from being a project and even self-proclaimed saying, hey, I'm ready to take a year or two in the 905, develop up, work my way into the roster. Well, hey, if we trade Goran Dragic at the midseason mark or at the very beginning of the season, I believe October 1st even is the earliest trade eligibility if we're looking at Moses Brown, over on, what team is he with now? Not Boston Celtics, but the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah. Then there's an open roster spot for a backup 2-guard, and this guy would be super raw coming in and playing actual proper backup minutes. I don't think he'd be that guy, but if you have depleted depth at that guard spot and Dalano Banton's ready to go, don't be surprised to see this guy come in and play minutes, which is pretty crazy considering only 4 games ago, we thought this guy, we wouldn't see him for 2 years. We'd be, wiping off the dust 3 seasons from now, but he might play. He might play them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And before we sort of dive into that further, we do have a super chat, the first ever super chat with the new animation. It's coming from the MDR Kingdom 2. We got Scottie Barnes in the super chat now. Lowry's gone. The animation's been replaced. Let us know what you think about that in the chat. Rip the GOAT. But he's saying, sign Anas Mahmoud. You figured out how to pronounce the name. I'm going to give myself the Charles Barkley there to a max steal. He had a okay game, blocked a couple of shots. I don't know if a max steal is coming his way, Riker.
6.7 rebounds and 3 blocks. And he's 7-footer, true 7-footer, but he only weighs about as much as Achiuwa and who else? I'm struggling with the names here tonight. Kem Birch.
Yeah.
But that's not too hard. We've seen some crazy physique transformations over the years, but this is a guy, if you're excited about seeing him and having a proper 7-footer on the roster, he will properly develop through the 905. And after a year or two of bulking up, and hopefully having a better show out than the likes of Henry Ellenson when they got their minute or two to shine. Hopefully, if he gets called up to the actual Toronto Raptors, that he'll come in and make some significant play with the kind of scrub minutes that we like to give 905 guys when we're at a lull in the season.
The scrub minutes, bringing that back, bring back the squad with the Kazoos. We had a lot of scrub minutes last season. People are liking the new animation, Riker, and I made up a few today.
Play it again.
I cooked up a
Play
few.
It again.
The super chat. I'll throw this one out here. Right, got Scottie Barnes showing out to the laser eyes. Hopefully, it's a clean one. Hopefully, you guys are liking that. I also added, Riker, a new like spike animation. Got the actual spikes cooking in there. We have a spike going and a couple arrows flying down. It's that one's might need a little bit of work, but let's get a little leg spike going. Got 92
how many people are watching
chat.
Right now?
92 people looks like. So people aren't too into this.
I guess
game.
People caught wind that there was no Achua tonight. There was no Scottie Barnes. There was no Malachi Flynn. No David Johnson.
Yeah.
I was wondering why, because I noticed I was checking the box score for the Pistons. I was checking the box score for the Magic, just trying to keep an eye on all of the sort of the top 4, top 5 draft picks. None of them are playing. So I thought, what's going on here? Why is everybody resting? Nobody's excited for the Summer League playoffs, but sheds a lot of light that only the top 2 teams, which surprisingly, at least in my opinion, Boston Celtics are one of those top 2. They didn't really have any draft picks this year. So
yeah, interesting. They traded away the guy that's now this for the Houston Rockets, the big center, the Turkish guy. That was MVP.
The MVP.
The MVP of the Turkish League. His name is slipping me. The names they're floating out of both your and I brains recently, right? I'm holding in these coughs. It's
good thing there's only 93 people left. But who the Celtics do have is Peyton Pritchard, who is playing unbelievable. And you would be familiar with this guy if, you watch college basketball, or if you watch the Raptors play and get crushed by the Celtics last year. It was this man. It was surprisingly, it was always him and then Grant Williams in the corner just splashing threes. So
is he
maybe
playing
it's not so surprising.
I saw somewhere that he had a 90.
He's been dropping 20 points, 30 points.
I've seen him put in 90 in a Pro-Am game recently. He put up 92 points in a Pro-Am game. So I don't even know if he's out there for the Celtics in Summer League.
I've been watching. I've been seeing.
Man, he's out here balling, playing Summer League, playing Pro-Am games. This guy is an absolute monster, especially when he plays the Toronto Raptors striker. But as you mentioned, a lot of those guys out, Scottie Barnes, David Johnson, especially if Dragic is traded, right? A trade happens with Dragic. Do you think one of these guys coming in here, like Dalano Banton, would actually, we kind of stop this discussion. Do you think he could actually be a rotation piece right away before we move on completely from the Dalano discussion?
No, you would think that a guy maybe like Ishmael Wainwright or even David Johnson, just somebody who's more of a proper, I don't want to say proper 2-guard because that's giving too much credit to Ishmael Wainwright's offensive capabilities, but certainly a guy like David Johnson who should come out as a more polished 3-point shooter, or even a guy like Champagny or Morgan who had 24 points tonight on 75% shooting from the 3. You think a guy who's just more of a spot up person would make more sense at that backup 2 role, especially if Malachi Flynn is going to be doing a lot of the creating on offense, unless you have, say, Banton come in here, play the 1, take a lot of that creating pressure and let Malachi Flynn just be a scorer, which seems like he wants to do because he's been out there shooting, chucking. He's chucking.
Yeah, no, it's exciting stuff. And I want to dive into Matt Morgan, but we do have another super chat. Any chance we get to play the new animation, we got to be able to do it. And Brandon Tucker's asking, what are you guys most excited for from the rookies this season? Potential bench mob 2.0, Riker?
Well, you're most excited for Scottie Barnes, who we made the video. Somebody made a really good clarification. And remember, we were confused by the double negative or the triple negative. Was the guy suggesting that Scottie Barnes would be picked number 1? It was no. He initially said, no way Scottie Barnes would be picked number 1. But he said if there were a redraft, Scottie Barnes could have went number 1. The consideration could have been there to have him over Cade. And basically everybody agrees because this guy has upside on the defensive end, upside on the offensive end, displaying more scoring than we thought he was even capable, handles cleaner than OG, right? Athleticism. So that's definitely who I'm most excited to see, Ben. How about yourself?
Yeah, Scottie Barnes, your number 4 pick, your first top 5 pick in forever, right? You gotta just be juiced to watch him. But Banton's a guy I'm high on. Precious Achiuwa is not really a draft pick, but I think he's the guy. Let's just bust it out. I was gonna save it, but we have another animation that I've cooked up today. I have to debut it on this video, but I've been on the Precious propaganda, and I'm saying, is he the next Bam? Is he the next Giannis? Better than Bam? Is he better than Serge Ibaka, Riker? Who knows? But Precious, outside of Scottie Barnes, he's the most exciting addition to this Toronto Raptors squad. I think he's starting at center, so I guess that has to be my take with Precious Achiuwa, especially with this segment debuting.
And we animation. Were one, yes, which is one of the funkiest animations you've created so far. So keep your eye to the chat, see how people are feeling about the weirdness of that one. But Ben, we were one center away. This is when anybody who's not a Raptors fan would completely roll their eyes, but we were one center away from making the playoffs last season.
Top 4 seed.
And yeah, you said it. I don't know about top 4. That's maybe ambitious. And I don't know about how deep you would make a push in the playoffs, but with Precious, I'll tell you, we're playoff bound. And now Scottie Barnes, when Pascal comes back, I like that the tone has changed too from front office, that you have Bobby Webster saying we're making a long-term play with Siakam. You have Masai Ujiri saying we've taken you off the block. You know, like everything seems to lead towards the tides are, or the waves of discontent and potential rift between coaching and front office and Pascal Siakam have relaxed. Give this man one more season, let him play. I think he's going to impress everyone.
Yep. No, without a doubt. And I think maybe we should make a TikTok. That's not worth a whole video, considering we made a whole video saying that Siakam's going to stay a couple days ago, but maybe a little update in a TikTok. We'll have to bust that out, a YouTube short, so to speak, but people seem to like the animation. Some are saying it's weird, it's a little bit wild. I don't know. We're excited to sprinkle that in as we go along the season, but a lot of people are talking about Matt Morgan, and we have to talk about Matt Morgan after this game. Riker, 24 points, 5 assists, a Raptors 905 legend, right? He can shoot the basketball, he can really create for people, and I think you especially at least bring him into camp. At least bring this guy into camp with the scoring prowess he showed over Summer League. Yes, we have a lot of guards, but we don't, especially if we lose Dragic, which we think might happen if we bring in Moses Brown, then we're going to really need some more scoring off that bench, a scoring pop. And say a Malachi Flynn or a Fred VanVleet goes down, we don't have that much depth in terms of just scoring guards that can come off the paint. Obviously, Scottie can move to that position. Dalano can move to that position. But you always want at least a couple guys that can just create their own shots and get things going for their squad. And so I think Matt Morgan would be a really key addition off the bench, especially where David Johnson hasn't necessarily impressed the way we sort of expected he would in our sort of once we watch his highlights and everything coming into following the draft.
Yeah, and in typical 3-and-D man expectation fashion, where those never seem to pan out the way we want them to, but he's not a big enough name that I think he would come off and do anything super impressive if he does end up making a rotation spot, which is why I'd be worried, at least for now, not knowing fully what's going to happen with trading away Dragic. And you and I are both kind of convinced that that's not the best trade for the short term, but most people are sold to say long term it's a better long-term move. Yeah, and I can't disagree with that point, but I also don't want to.
We want to win this year.
Yeah.
We can get centers whenever.
I don't want to tank twice. I'll tell you that much, Ben. I don't want to tank twice. So if a guy like Matt flies buzzing right around, if a guy like Matt Morgan's willing to come off and be a high efficiency shooter, a reasonably efficient shooter, the only thing is, this was a challenge last year. We didn't have a lot of creators off the bench. And I know you said this guy could possibly create, but we're looking at Chris Boucher. He's not a creator. He's a finisher, right? He's a shooter. He's a spot up guy. Kem Birch is not a creator. Who else? Watanabe will come off the bench. Malachi Flynn, it looks like he's not even trying to create. He might just be a shooter. So that's why I like Dragic's fit off the bench, because he could be that guy that sets his teammates up. And I don't know if a rookie guy or a 905 guy or a non-drafted guy has enough skill set or enough moves in his bag to come off the bench and create for his teammates.
Well, Riker, we have another super chat. It's from the MDR Kingdom 2. Saying, Riker hating on the GOAT Matt Morgan. Riker, what do you have to say?
Sounds like I am. Hey, I'm willing to eat my words at any point if it means the betterment of the team, or a particular player. Ben, any other interesting stat lines or narratives you want to break down? I have a friendship. My roommate is in crisis mode, so I can't stay too long on this podcast. But I told him it's got to wait. It's got to wait because we can't be slacking on the post game reactions.
Yeah, no, for sure. We can't slack with the post-game reactions, but Ryker does have to go save lives, so we can't have an hour-long pod here. Ryker's not sleeping this pod. It's a legitimate reason to cut it short a little bit, but Champagnie I thought was okay. This game, I also want to preface, was ugly. There was a lot of possessions. The Raptors played great defense, and that's a part of the reason it was ugly, but as with Toronto Raptors fashion, they aren't the most polished of offensive players just yet, all of our young guys, so it makes sense that we struggle on the offensive end of the floor at times. But Champagnie, 11 points, 11 rebounds, solid around the rim, had a couple of really nice finishes. Didn't shock me from what I saw from the three-point line, just pulling up the stats. 0 of 3 from the three-point line. Adams came in 14 points, 13 rebounds, and he actually kind of showed that he could play that guard position, as I've said in previous pods. Looks like Jordan Lloyd. Just reminds me of Jordan Lloyd, that sort of feel. For people that don't know, he's the guy standing next to Kawhi in that iconic picture, him in the suit. So that's a big moment. Wainwright didn't get that much run. But I'm going to leave Gillespie to the final segments. It's, not a lot talked about. Mike came in, I believe it's Isaiah Mike. Was okay, 9 points, got a few dinkers and dumpers, maybe could get a training camp slot, but we'll see what ends up happening. But Ryker, should we just swing into the segments?
Swing into the segments, man.
Swing into the segments. It's been a while since we busted out a few segments, but tonight, the spicy pea lay of the day. It's going to our guy. He's in the thumbnail. I've been talking about him this entire podcast. Dalano Banton coming down the lane. I alluded to it earlier. Driving baseline and got in the air, used those long arms, those Mr. Gadget arms, and wrapped that ball around to, I think it might have been Mike in the paint who dunked it home. Really just some tremendous passing for Dalano. Threw a full court pass there. Made a really nice dump off to Freddie Gillespie, who I'll talk about later in these segments, Ryker. But do you want to chime in on anything about Dalano before we swing to the OGs?
Go with me, man. Keep it rolling.
Where not all plays can be the spicy play of the day, and some just make you say, oh, geez. And tonight, the OG's play of the day, I guess I'll give this to Freddie Gillespie. I don't want to give him a gold star and potentially his last ever game in a Raptor uniform, but there was a possession that I just alluded to. The ball was given to Gillespie right underneath the rim and just missed. Wide open layup underneath the rim. Lots of bunnies, lots of missed catches have happened with Freddie Gillespie, Ryker. You and I, we love the personality. We love the party in the USA that he can surely sing, get the balloons going, get the dancing in honor of Freddie Gillespie. But do you think there's any chance he's back with this roster next season?
Nope. Cut you off just to say no, hard no. It's unfortunate. Good character guy, but you got to play. And if you're not even able to get it done in the summer league, it raises a lot of questions about what you can accomplish in the regular season where you want to start on better footing, right? You don't want to be stagnant to start, especially with how slow the Raptors kind of finished and placed in the overall standings last year. So when we have two promising youngish centers, Young and Achua, and Antetokounmpo, Adebayo, Achua, and
Precious
relatively young
Achua. We'll get that animation playing. The precious propaganda, it's going hard on this podcast, Ryker. The precious propaganda, it's going to be going all throughout the season.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. But yeah, and that's it. The gold star. You didn't want to give it to Gillespie?
I do want to give it to Gillespie. I wanted to give it to the NBA. I get that it's a weird season and yada, yada, yada. But if you got everyone there in the bubble, what is an extra couple days to actually have a playoff tournament, right? These young guys, they're going to drop a game or two. I think the Raptors had a legitimate shot at winning this year's Summer League, but unfortunately, maybe it was the strength of schedule, maybe it was this, maybe that, but they lost one game.
Or injuries.
They got no shot at winning a chip after one game. I would have liked to see the Raptors rise up that trophy.
Hey, I wouldn't have hated it either. I was surprised when they said that there would be a championship, but to hear that there's no tournament is kind of weird. But then, random news. Did you see that Nick Nurse has signed on for the next 3 years as the Canada men's basketball head coach? So I was just reading that at an NBA.com. I was trying to scope out if there was anything we missed in this most recent Raptors Summer League game, and that popped up. So that's an interesting little tidbit there.
Yeah. No, Nick Nurse, obviously it's better to have an NBA Coach of the Year on your squad. The people have questioned his coaching style in with the Olympic team, the national team, but I don't know. Nick Nurse, you'd rather have him than a Jay Triano, who's going to bench your best 19-year-old player in place of Aaron Dornicamp, who's going to miss a box out and keep you out of the Olympics against Venezuela. So I'm still bitter about that, so at least Nick Nurse will play good players at the end of games. But definitely a positive. Ryker, do you want to quickly sound off the alarm and actually keep it under 2 minutes?
Oh, sound off the alarm. Keep it. I like it. Play it, Ben.
Let's get it. Woo, woo, woo. Beep, 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 beep. That's right. The final alarm has gone off. We want to hear your takes, hear your questions. We're keeping it under 2 minutes because Ryker's got to go save lives. But what are people saying? What are people saying in the chat about the Raptors Summer League? Who's your favorite players? You know, we can get a little like spike, the new like spike animation as we're going with the alarm. Bradley Kahn is saying, let's get JV back. Would you like JV back on this roster, Ryker?
Nope. No. We're going fast. We're going athletic, right? Scoring from a center would be a plus, but we've seen that Achua can score, so it doesn't make sense to bring in a guy that really can't play out at the perimeter or defend the pick and roll.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's why we got rid of him. Love JV to death, but it's tough to have him on that squad. Who's better, Matt Morgan or Gordon Dragic?
Dragic has a career behind him.
Bro, the GOAT, though. Man, Sergeant Salt is asking, can he get a high or sheep? You know, Sergeant Salt, not sure what's up, but hey, we'll give you a high. People are liking the alarm. I saw Dalano Banton. Dalano Banton compared to Adam Morrison. Ryker, do you like that comparison?
Adam who?
Adam Morrison. You know that guy that had the long moppy hair and the gross mustache? Played on the bench for the Lakers. Was drafted by the Bobcats.
No, I don't even remember.
Ryker, you gotta get up with your culture, Bobcats players. You know, Matt Morgan, people are loving him. Moses Brown. There's people saying trades have happened. A lot of Matt Thomas takes in here. Do you want to get back Matt Thomas, who was waived by the Utah Jazz, Ryker?
No, definitely not. He had 2 seasons to show out. You did see that Patrick Beverley was flipped again to the Timberwolves. That could have been the trade that people are talking about. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, true to final alarm. It's been a pleasure. Back to the live game reactions. I guess this is the last one until the season actually starts, though.
Yeah, preseason's coming quick around the corner. We'll still have videos popping on Raptors Digest and Courtside Digest and Leafs. It's all rocking out. So you guys are the best for making this far. Checking out the lives. We appreciate everyone here in this chat watching later. You just watch the channel in general. We hit 20k subs, Ryker. So the road to 50. We're on the road to 50 now. That's
We're on the road to 25. Relax.
I can't relax. Milestones. I can't relax. We're on that highway. We're speeding through, but we appreciate everyone. And yeah, you guys are the best for making this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, all that cool stuff. Ryker, do you have any last words on this game? Or are you just going to go straight into saving lives?
I'm outie. Cheers, everyone.